losing my faith today.
Falling off the edge today.
I am just a man, not superhuman.
I'm not superhuman.
Someone save me from the hate. It's just another war, just another family torn.
Falling from my feet today.
Just a step from the edge.
Firefighters should be paid.
Okay, Mike, I know you're a volunteer firefighter, so I know the question is close to your heart. I think that volunteer firefighters provide an excellent service to their community, so they should receive some form of compensation. I know that many small towns would not be able to pay them, but I could support something like tax rebates on their federal income tax, or reduction of property tax in the local community, or receiving discounts on materials that they buy for their, like the light kits for their vehicles, or in a lot of cases I know volunteer firemen have to provide their own uniforms, so I could see some sort of tax write-off on the federal taxes, because what they do saves the community money, so the community should give back in a way that they're able to afford.
Okay, is there anything else you think they should be able to get?
Probably after you turn the camera off, I'll think of 2 or 3 things, but I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, and would you rather want to, if you could, would you want to be volunteer or paid?
Well, obviously, if it were me, firefighters, professional firefighters have a very good contract. They're unionized. Usually they can retire at age 55 or earlier on full pension, and their work schedule appeals to me because, and I'm not saying it's not dangerous and valuable, but I'm saying the work schedule when there's no fires, you're working 2 or 3 days a week and sleeping half of that, and practicing or working on materials or equipment, so that would be appealing because it would be a lot of free time and a highly compensated job with a good retirement feature. So I would like to be a paid fireman if I had an option.
Okay, thank you for your time. Okay, Miss Foley, do you feel firefighters should be paid or what? Or receive some form of compensation?
I think in cities where there's large buildings and large populations, there should be a paid contingency of firefighters under the municipal government. And I think volunteer firefighters in rural areas should be compensated by getting tax relief. In other words, they don't owe their town and county taxes.
Okay, and if you had the opportunity, would you be volunteer or paid?
Well, if I had the opportunity, I would be paid first and volunteer second. Just my nature, money, money, money. So it's a risky job. I think that they should be paid well for it.
Okay, is there anything else you would like to say?
No, except for that I think the volunteers, that would be a nice tax relief for them, and that's an idea. Take it to the town hall.
I agree very much.
How are you today?
Good, you, Mr. Burke?
Super, doing super. What can we do for you?
For my senior statement, do you feel firefighters should be paid, or if not paid, receive some form of compensation?
To tell you the truth, I am shocked that people can volunteer to be firefighters, putting their lives at risk every time they go out. I was born in New York City and lived much closer to there when I grew up, and everyone was paid to be a fireman, a firefighter. So it still blows my mind that here in the rural part of the state, we actually have volunteer fire people, because like I said, putting their lives on the line every time they fight a fire and not to get paid for it is the ultimate sacrifice. And I think if there is a volunteer fire department, they clearly should be paid some kind of a stipend or something, because it's just such dangerous work, and they're doing such a good service for the town and city that they clearly should be given some kind of compensation for helping people put out fires. So I think it's clearly they should be paid, at the very least, some kind of a stipend where they're given something, you know, once a year perhaps, something like that.
Is there any idea of any sort of specific compensation you would think?
Well, that would be, I'd have to think about that. I don't think they, for example, you wouldn't pay them by the fire. That wouldn't make any sense at all to me, but perhaps some kind of a stipend per month, $100 a month, something. No matter what kind of money you give them, it won't be enough, that's for sure. And if they're generous enough to already volunteer, I think they would appreciate some kind of a stipend, $100 a month, something. Give them a free dinner once in a while, whatever. Give them gift cards to, you know, to restaurants or something. Some kind of compensation, so that they have something tangible that they can say, yes, I'm volunteering to do the work, but it's nice to be rewarded with something that you can actually use.
All right. Thank you for your opinion, Mr.
You're
Burke.
welcome. Thanks.